What goes on, guys? We're back here again with yet another review, and today we're finally going to be taking a look at a brand new entire Build a Collect, whatever the fuck you want to call it, wave series. We're going to be taking a look at the DC Multiverse McFarlane Toys Blackest Night set, including Batman, Deathstorm, Kyle Rayner Green Lantern, and Blackest Lantern Superman. So I want to be honest with you guys. I only am going to keep 2 figures from this wave. Anybody want to guess who? Go ahead, comment it. Comment who you think I want to keep. 3, 2, 1. So I'm only going to be keeping the Green Lantern and the Atrocitus because they both are just generic versions of each character, and I like that. It's not my favorite look for Kyle, but we'll talk about that a little bit more. I really don't want the other figures, so they will be going up on Mercari as soon as this review is done, to be completely honest with y'all. But taking a look at the packaging, I'm only going to show Kyle's, and then I'll show the art for the other ones, but it's pretty standard. You get on the side the Blackest Night. I like when they put the logo on there, and then actually I don't need to show you everybody else because they're all just having a picture of Atrocitus, which I actually like. It's a really cool picture. You know, each one will have the corresponding picture of like which, you know, part you get, and then they each have their own trading cards, which I'm so excited for, but whatever. So without further, or actually I always like to show you guys, there's the barcode for Kyle, the barcode for Deathstorm, the barcode for Batman, and then finally the barcode for Superman. So these should be hitting Targets relatively soon. I'm assuming Target's going to get them before Walmart. But I found mine at my comic book store, Conquest Comics. They are fucking awesome, and they had all of them except Superman. I had to buy him off of Amazon, and that's why this review is coming a lot later than I wanted it to. Fucking Amazon stalled and fucked up and all of this bullshit. But without further ado, let's go ahead and pop these guys open because I'm super excited to see them. So taking these guys out of the package, I'm glad to report that this is probably McFarlane's strongest wave overall. There is a stinker in the wave, which, funny enough, is my character that I'm usually a fan of. So we'll go ahead and talk about that. Probably just gave it away saying that, but I'm happy also to report that my 2 favorite figures out of the wave are the 2 best figures out of the wave, which are really cool, and the ones that I wanted them to be the best, the ones that I bought the wave for. I'm very happy about that. So without further ado, you guys know how I run these kinds of reviews. We go from least favorite to favorite in the entire wave and talk about those one in order from that, and then do all the comparisons at the end. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at the weakest figure of the wave, Batman. I'm not a fan of this figure. It's just, there's a lot of weird things about it, and I don't think that McFarlane did a very good job on it, which is a little disappointing because when I first saw the original promotional picture of like the hand coming out of the grave, I was like, whoa, zombie Batman, that's cool, but I don't know, it's just a weird figure. Starting off with the head sculpt, I hate the way that it looks. The sculpt seems to be there, but it's the paint that looks disgusting, and not in a good way. It's like yellow, and I don't know, it just doesn't look good. Like the Superman paint, like little spoiler for Superman, like his looks like a zombie. Batman's looks like old cheese, and I don't like it at all. It's just not very good. The blue is nice for Batman. It looks really, really good with the colors. I do like the Spawn-esque cape. Another thing that really bugs me, the sculpt is incredible on this cape. Really like the sculpt, but then you go ahead and sculpt dirt and grime and not paint it. That's bad. Like, that just looks stupid. Like, there should have been at least a wash over that. A dry brush, something to indicate that that's dirt. Because without it, it just looks like a crunchy cape, and I don't like that. Another thing I'm not a big fan on this figure is the way that they did the diaphragm joint. This piece almost looks upside down. Like, it tapers in and then gets big at the chest again. He's got a really weird proportioned body. I get that he's a zombie and he's decrepit, but why does the torso come out so far? That's weird, and you can't even pose it away. This is as neutral as it can get, and it's still, I don't know. I don't like the way that that looks at all. The articulation itself is good, and we'll talk about that later. It just looks really weird. The sculpts on the arms look fine. I'm not a big fan when you see heavy veins through leather. Just doesn't really make sense to me. That vein would have to be huge. The paint is pretty good on the, like, pattern, I guess. It's very clean on the Black Lantern logo. And then he has weird proportions. I'm not a big fan of the way that he looks standing there. It's just the mid-torso just looks so weird. His chest is way too narrow, and he just doesn't stand good. And again, maybe you could chalk that up to him being a zombie and decrepit, but I don't like it. Definitely needs a paint wash on the blue. I mean, paint applications, the head, the White Lantern logo, and the design here. That's it. No paint on the belt, no paint on the gloves, no paint on the cape. Not a fan of that. I think this definitely needed more paint, more than most, because solid gray just looks cheap to me. So I'm not a big fan of that. And on top of all that, he comes with no real accessories. Of course, you're going to get your stupid stand and your card. So here's the art. Like, see, like, that looks awesome. If that's what this looked like, I would have gone all over it, but it doesn't. And then on the back, there's your read-up if you want that. And, of course, he comes with the figure stand because, you know, they all got to come with the figure stand. As far as articulation goes, I'm not disappointed with it. The head goes up extremely far, down extremely far. Ooh, a little too far on that one, boy. But pivot side to side, swivel. This is, with minimal gapping, this is a great articulated head. Love that. Shoulders go up, down, rotate up to about there, and then back to about there. Bicep swivel with the butterfly joint. That doesn't really do much, but the bicep swivel works. Double jointed elbows that aren't super pretty. And then ball joint at the wrist with a swivel. So they went back to the ball joints for that, which doesn't really bother me here because they're mostly covered. Now look at the crunch on that. And that's without the hips. That is a really good crunch forward for McFarlane. Back pretty far, but super gappy. Pivot side to side. It's just gappy and it looks ugly, but great range. Rotate, rotate. I even tried popping it apart and flipping it, but it's not the right sculpt. It's designed for it to be like that. It's just not a good sculpt. Hips go out that far. He'll kick forward, back, little rotation at the upper thigh, double jointed knees, and then the ankle goes down, up, and pivot with a toe joint. So really good articulation. I don't really have a problem with that, surprisingly. Usually that's what I do have a problem with, the McFarlane figures, but honestly, I think he did a really good job on articulating it. It just looks ugly in the process. Next up on the list, maybe a little controversial, I have Deathstorm. So this is a cool looking figure. I don't know anything about the character. I've never read this storyline. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Again, I bought this for the two characters that I said at the beginning. But taking a look at the head sculpt here, I think the head sculpt is awesome. I love the clear-ish, like the clear piece of purplish blue, gray, whatever you want to call it, for the flame on his head. That is awesome. And then the skull looks great. Ghost Rider-esque. Looks very nice. You could probably definitely use this as a Ghost Rider head. It'll look big, because it looks big on this body, in my opinion. Just a tad. But, because, like, if you look at Batman's head, it's, like, bigger, but it's a skull, so it should be smaller, in my opinion. Because, there's no fat or muscle on there. But I know that comic books always make skulls bigger than they actually are. So, it does look cool, though. And there's a little bit of paint on the clear, so it does look nice. But there's like a very severe lack of paint throughout the rest of it. The gauntlets, they're painted, but they're not a different enough color to where it actually means something. I like that attention to detail, but a nice dry brush over the whole body would have went good, because the sculpt is there. Like, the sculpt on the shoulder pads looks nice. I really like the emblem there. But I don't like that blue. It is not painted clean at all. It's very much missed the mark on the blue. But the rest of it looks fine. The little symbol down here, the Black Lantern logo, symbol, whatever you want to call it, does look good down there. Also, I forgot to mention, well, Batman never had the ring, or no, he does. Not painted the ring. How do you not paint the Black Lantern ring? Again, not painted. I don't understand that. That should be your priority of paint in this regard. Which is stupid. And then I think he just has little feet. Like, I think his feet are a little small, especially compared to his hands. But again, this is just my opinion. I think the sculpt is there. The proportioning is really good. I like the big broad chest, the rough, like, pouchiness of the shirt on the sides, like on the sleeves, looks really nice. I don't know. I like the other figures better. As far as articulation goes, he's not going to look up very much or down, side to side, and pivot. Not really. The head's a little limited. It'll rotate fine. Ball pegs don't really do anything in there. The shoulder goes up, down, rotate 360, biceps swivel, double jointed elbows, and then the wrists are on the ball hinge again, but these ones are definitely a lot more protruding than they should be. Now the diaphragm joint will go forward a little bit. He's learning back, side to side, and then rotate at the top and the bottom. So it's the diaphragm joints, I never really had a huge problem with them. Definitely going forward was a problem, and the fact that they're improving that is cool, but I think that this is great. I wish Marvel Legends would take this this set of their articulation. Hips, kick forward, back, double jointed knee, and then the ankle goes down, up, pivot with a toe joint. So the articulation's fine. Like, I think it's actually pretty good. I'll take that back. I think it's pretty good. It's just the head is a little lackluster, which is weird because he doesn't really have a lot to get in the way. He's got a lot going on with his head, just nothing that should impede articulation, in my opinion. And as you'll see, other people who should have things impeding it don't. So who knows? Next up, I have this Superman. I'm not keeping it. Like, it's not good enough for me to keep, but I just really like the way that this guy turned out. It's very clean. While there's not more paint apps necessarily, it looks like there are because of the different color variations, and I think that just has to do with his design, but I really, really like what it's got going on. One thing that I don't like is this should have been painted much better. The circle in the center definitely should have been painted better, but other than that, I think this head sculpt is awesome. That's a very good zombie Superman head. The teeth are sculpted and painted beautifully. Teeth are hard to do, so that's really cool to see. The tiara looking thing on the top of his head looks good. The black and the orange for the eyes looks awesome, and then the arms look super good as well. Definitely you can tell that he was muscular, but he's decrepit. I like that. That's where the Batman was lacking for me. The paint on the S symbol looks really clean, and he has two-toned cape. Shambles, not really sure, but he does have a two-tone cape, so it's black on the front, or black on the back, white in the front. I don't know. What's the front of the cape? What do you guys think? Is this the front of the cape, or is this the front of the cape? Back of the cape? Front of the cape? I don't know. Let me know. But it is two-tone, and it's painted very clean, and I like that it's tassely and ripped. I like that. That is really cool. And if you wanted to go the extra mile, make it even more tassely, I think it'd be super easy to just do a cut there and there to have 5 instead of 3 pieces. I mean, you don't have to do that, but you definitely could. The paint on the symbol looks really good as well for the Black Lanterns. And then he doesn't have the ball joints on the ankles. He does on the wrists, but there's a nice paint wash in the arms. It just really looks like a better quality figure. And the articulation, boots. As far as accessories for Deathstorm, I forgot to mention, he does come with a lantern. Can I get a green version of this? He holds it well. Boom. Pretty cool. I do like the silver, and it definitely adds to the figure. Would really like a green version of that. And then here is Deathstorm's card. Like, imagine if he looked like that. Like, that's not even the same design for the head. This would have been a way cooler figure. And if he came with some of the Firestorm accessories, ooh, man. There's the read-up, and of course, he comes with the stand. As far as Black Lantern Superman, he also has a card. You can read that, and then that art looks really, really cool. I do like that. And, of course, he comes with the stand. Nothing else. But as far as articulation, the head's going to look up pretty far. It'll look down, side to side, and then rotate. Shoulders will hinge up that far. And his ball peg actually works pretty good. So you can get some pretty good butterfly motion in there. Bicep swivel. Double jointed elbows that go in pretty far and look really nice doing so. So wrist swivel and hinge. And then the ball joint at the waist goes forward pretty far. I like that. It's getting better. Arch back, pretty good as well. Pivot, rotate, looking good. Hips go out that far. He'll kick forward only that far. He doesn't kick forward as far. Maybe a little bit better, but thigh swivel, double jointed knees. The ankles move up, down, pivot, and toe joint. So I do like it. I think that he is superior to the Deathstorm. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me on that, but I do like it. I like the proportions. I like the sculpt. I like the paint. Just accessories would be nice. I mean, I'm sick of accessory-less figures. Sorry. And this is a good example of that. Now, my top 2 are very, very close. So it's really hard to pick, but I think I'm going to go Kyle Rayner. I really like this figure. This is a really good figure, and if all McFarlane figures were like this, his line would be untouchable in my opinion. This is really good. I have a couple little problems. For starters, I don't like the way that the face is paler than the rest of them. I think the pale face suits him, but the neck doesn't match at all. Neither does the ear. It's like weird. It's like they forgot to do the wash on the rest of it. The sculpt itself is awesome. I love the hair. I love the separate piece for the mask. That is super nice. Sorry about the train in the background if you guys can hear that, but I really, really like the way that that looks. The body proportioning is awesome. The texture on it is awesome. A lot of people are saying it looks sweaterish. I kind of disagree. On camera, I think it looks worse than it does in person. Like, there's definitely that heavy texture, but I think it works in its favor. It makes it look super high quality, in my opinion. This nice emblem is flat and painted, very crisp and clean. And then they did paint his ring, which I do like. This is the first Lantern ring to get painted, and it's a fist. Oh, my God. Who would have thought that on a Green Lantern figure that was a lot to ask for, but in this line it is. Now, my other problem is the ankle joints. While they are sculpted, great. I love the way that that is sculpted. The color is definitely different, and I don't like that. That does throw me off. But he just looks really, really nice. Skip to one of the comparisons, too. Say you want this body for Hal Jordan, which I kind of do, not going to lie, because this is not my preferred suit for Kyle. This is why he's not going to be my number one. Of course, you know, it's the wrong ends of the pegs that came out. But give me one second. Let me get these out. Boom. You can do that. It doesn't look terrible. The head might be a little big, and the skin tones don't match, but to be fair, they don't really match on the figure that it comes with. I'm probably going to display it like this for now, because with my figures, with my displays, I can only afford to have one Green Lantern out right now. So I think this is going to be the way that I display it, unfortunately. No shit on Kyle. I love Kyle Rayner. He's probably my favorite Green Lantern. It's either him or John Stewart. But I like Kyle because he's an artist, and the whole like White Lantern thing was really cool in my opinion. So he's definitely my favorite Lantern, but I definitely can acknowledge that Hal's probably the most iconic. Again, either him or John Stewart are the most iconic, but I didn't like the John Stewart on this body. They both need their own sculpts, him and Hal, and throwing a Guy Gardner too. He's an asshole, but would be a cool figure. So I really like the way that this looks, but y'all can let me know what you think about that. Now, as far as accessories for Kyle, he comes with the most. He comes with his own specific lantern, which is really cool. I like that. The battery looks nice. He holds it pretty well as well, so, you know, if he needs to charge up his battery or his ring, that is pretty cool. And he also comes with this amazing card. Love it so much. Great card. There's the read-up. And then he comes with the figure stand. So, great. Awesome. But, in all seriousness, he does come with this big sword, which is different from John Stewart's, because John Stewart had the little two bladers, but this is just one big blade, and he holds it pretty good as well. So that's pretty dope. I'm not going to use this, in my opinion, but I like it. So let me know what you guys think about that. I think that's pretty cool. As far as articulation goes on him, the head's not going to look up very much. It'll look down, pivot side to side, and rotate. Very good overall. It's just the hair kind of gets in the way. But you can compensate with the torso, which we'll get to in a second. Shoulders go up, down, rotate all around, and they don't really move much in that butterfly socket. Bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, and then the wrists swivel and hinge. They're very good, and they're seated afar in there to where it looks nice. I like that. The torso is amazing. It goes all the way around. He'll crunch forward. Whoa, lost his... Well, keep your head on straight, Rayner. He will crunch forward that far back, rotate at the top and the bottom, so it looks really, really nice. Goes out, kick forward, back. Great thigh swivel. Love it. Double jointed knees that are super ugly. I don't like... Why was it cut like that? That is... Ugh. Gross. I don't like that. Goes down, up, pivots, and toe joint. They look good, but they can get a little loose. So I'm just going to warn that. At least on mine they are. So articulation is great. You can get them in a good flying pose. Whoa, his head just launched. But you can get him in a good flying pose. You just have to kind of use the torso with it. So he'll do it. I like that. That's pretty cool. But we all know what we're here for this wave 4. Atrocitus. This is the best Build-A-Figure that they have done so far, and I will fight that if anybody wants to fight me, because This is a fucking badass figure. I mean, to be fair, I have not finished Starro yet, but I don't even think that this pales in comparison to this. This is awesome. I have one complaint with it, and if they would have done that, it would have been maybe top 10 figures for me of the year. This is an amazing figure. Starting off at this head sculpt. Holy. Whew, that is a nice looking head sculpt. The black lining looks amazing in there. The teeth are painted so clean. The eyes are painted clean. The wash, great sculpt. Love the head. Now the head is also my point of contingency and my issue. That black lining, imagine if we had that all the way around the rest of the body. The legs, the shoulder pads, the arms. That would have set this figure above all else. But without that, it looks a little cheap from the neck down. And I hate to say that, but it does. Also, if he would have came with an accessory of Deathstorm, chef's kiss. That would have been amazing. But the shoulder pad does have a nice sculpt to it. I love the angular sculpt. Now, it can come out a little bit easy, so I put a little dab of glue in each of the pegs. You don't have to do that, but I just don't want to lose it. The paint for the Red Lantern logo looks great, and I like the glossiness of this PP looking design on his chest. The arms look great. Again, like I said, would have been so amazing to get that black wash in there. The ring is sculpted but not painted. That would have been another thing too. Just a slightly different red. That's all you need. This hand has the claws out, like a clenching hand, and then the body has a great texture all over it. The thighs are nice and big. The legs are super long and awesome looking. The boots look great as well. I do like the ankles. They look sculpted nice in there. They are a slightly different color, just like Kyle, which does make me a little sad, but whatever. He just looks great. The red is so bright. He's super big. I mean, you all saw him at the beginning, but here he is next to that Superman. He's a really big figure. But they didn't skimp on the articulation for this one. Because as far as accessories, he doesn't come with anything. He doesn't get a figure stand. Like no one comes with an extra figure stand. He doesn't get a card. So his head will move up that far, down, pivot side to side, and rotate. He's got better head articulation than Deathstorm, and he's got a collar piece around him, so great articulation. It's perfect for that head. The arm goes up, it'll go all the way around. The ball peg actually does do some work. It'll rotate that far forward and that far back with a bicep swivel, double jointed elbows that are a little ugly, but whatever, it's Atrocitus. And then the wrist swivel and hinge into that joint, so that's really nice. Now the diaphragm joint's awesome, so it's a double ball peg on both things, so he'll crunch forward, back, pivot side to side, and it doesn't get really messed up at all. The leg doesn't pop out too often, so I don't know why they did that. Rotate at the top and the bottom. My suggestion is to always rotate at the bottom because then it doesn't mess up the red design. Use the red design for tilting because it works good in every direction. So, oh man, that is just, I like the way that is. What the hell? All of a sudden the leg's like popping out. I was not doing that. He'll do the splits. He'll kick forward, back, upper thigh swivel, full-on swivel too. Double jointed knees that are still slightly ugly like Rayner's, which I'm not a big fan of. Ankle goes down and up, pivot, and toe joint. I will say that this toe joint is super loose, and it's really annoying when trying to get him to stand, but I manage. I just really, really like the way that he looks. And you know what? He's not too specific to the Black Lantern storyline, the Darkest Night. He can just be your generic comic book Atrocitus. That's what I'm using him for. That's why I bought him. That's why I bought Rayner. He is just really, really well done in my opinion. Definitely McFarlane's best Build-A-Figure. Though King Shark also was pretty good. But his legs were pretty poop, so this is definitely an improvement over that. And then here's a comparison that I think a lot of people are going to want to see. Here is the Hal Jordan Green Lantern next to the Kyle Rayner Green Lantern. And like I said, I'm going to do a head swap for these guys just for the time being. Might grab another one of these and try to customize it to look like the Kyle Rayner suit that I like. I like the black and white suit. Like where he has like the black stripe down here. I like that better, but this head sculpt is too perfect not to use that for. But this is a really good Hal Jordan body too, so it really becomes your preference at that point. But for me, definitely gonna do a little head swap. And then there's Hal holding the lantern. It's not his lantern, but you know, it still could work. So I know you guys are out there wondering, yo, and what are you thinking of this wave of figures? And I gotta say, guys, this is one of McFarlane's strongest waves overall. I think 4 out of the 5 figures that you get from this set are really, really strong in some of McFarlane's best work. Like, you can definitely see an improvement with his line. Batman is a turd. I'm just going to be honest with you. So I'm not going to be keeping him. I'm actually not going to be keeping 3 out of the 5 of them. Deathstorm, I don't need a Deathstorm. I would love a new Firestorm. I have the DC icons on him, and he's just simply too small. So you want to give us a Firestorm? That would be cool. And the Superman, I just don't need. He's not a version of Superman I'm in love with. While the figure is awesome, I don't really care about that version. But that Kyle, hell yeah. Got myself an updated suit for Hal Jordan and an awesome character in Kyle Rayner. And that Atrocitus, whew, that Atrocitus is something else. So, you already knew my ranking. I'm going to give each of them their own 1 out of 10 ranking, and then I'll rank the wave as a whole. Batman's getting like a 4 out of 10. I just don't like the way it looks. It looks like a bad figure in my opinion. The articulation is the only thing saving it. Deathstorm, I'll give that a 7. I think that it's also very well done. It just could have used more accessories and a little bit more paint, and I don't like the articulation in the head. Kyle is going to get a 9 out of 10. The color variations in the joints are not super big, and the way that they're cut is also really annoying. But he's a really strong figure. Superman, I'm going to give an 8. I think that he could have also used a couple more accessories, at least just an open pair of hands, like zombie hand kind of things. But he looks great. The paint is good, except for the circle on his chest, so it could have been improved. As far as Atrocitus is concerned, I'm going to give Atrocitus a 10 out of 10. You know what? 9.5 out of 10, okay? Those black lines around the rest of his body would have been magnifique. Top 10. But as far as it is, the wave is going to get an overall ranking of 8 out of 10. Even with the turd of a Batman, I still think it's a McFarlane home run. So let me know what you guys think about it. Am I crazy? Let me know. But I believe that's all I got for today. So if you've not already, please be sure to like, follow, subscribe. Like, comment, subscribe. Why did I fuck that up? Like, comment, subscribe. Also, be sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok. I post a lot over there, so I'm sure you guys will enjoy that. I had a lot of fun. I'm sure you all will too. But I'm pretty sure that's all I got. So, as always, let me know who you copping. Whole wave? 1 or 2? 3? Let me know. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. And I knocked him down.